and Roku sticks, and they're also available on all smart TVs 2016 and forward. Now, let's get right into the sports wrap for today. We have a lot of stuff to talk about today, but the very first thing that we're going to get straight into right away is the NFL divisional round of the playoffs. We are set for some pretty good matchups here. First matchup will be coming this Saturday at 4:35 p.m. We see the Los Angeles Rams as they're taking on the Green Bay Packers. The last time LA and Green Bay took to the field to play each other, Brett Favre threw 6 interceptions. It's been that long. Will we see a repeat of that from Aaron Rodgers? I don't think so, but we'll just have to wait and see. And the late night game on Saturday is going to be the Baltimore Ravens as they're going to be taking on the Buffalo Bills, one of the tougher matchups in the AFC. That game will be Saturday at 8:15 p.m. This is a case of Lamar Jackson versus Josh Allen. And then moving on over to Sunday for the early installment game, we have the Cleveland Browns taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. That game will be again Sunday at 3:05 p.m. And the final game here in the NFL divisional round of the playoffs, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the New Orleans Saints. Drew Brees versus Tom Brady for potentially the final time. That game will be Sunday at 6:40 p.m. The winner of each of these games will be moving on to the conference championship, which will be going on next Sunday. Now, moving on over to some news from a non-playoff team here, as in Jacksonville, they've hired their 6th head coach in team history, and that coach is Urban Meyer. Yes, they just hired Urban Meyer this morning. This is coming from Jacksonville, Florida. Urban Meyer has won the Jacksonville starting job. Now, I have a big superstition about college coaches getting hired for the NFL, and I personally, I don't know about Urban Meyer here. I don't know if he's really going to do very well. I think it's going to come down to he's going to have 1 or 2 seasons in Jacksonville, and then he's just going to end up going back, I would think, because at this point, I like the hire for Jacksonville. It gives them a different perspective at the coaching position, and it's going to be a really good thing to see for Jacksonville. Obviously, they have the number 1 overall pick. They could go quarterback heavy in it, and we could be seeing a very new Jacksonville team run by a completely different coach. So it's going to be interesting to see how Urban Meyer did become the head coach of Jacksonville on Thursday, which is indeed today. And he'll be leaving the broadcast booth, and he'll be returning to the sidelines after a 2-year absence that followed another health scare of his. And the 56-year-old Meyer, he was team owner Saad Khan's top target for weeks now. It's felt like since week 3, they've been going after Urban Meyer, and they finally were able to get him. And the deal was signed shortly after their 3rd and final meeting in the last 7 days. They had met last Friday in Khan's yacht in Miami. They met again on Wednesday, and then they met again at the facility on Thursday to finalize the deal. Now, this is a coach with 3 national championships, right? Jacksonville has lost 105 of their last 144 games. Again, like I said before, right? It was time for a new direction for this team. And we are definitely seeing a new Jacksonville team going into next season. I don't think they finished 500 just yet, even with Urban Meyer as their head coach. I really don't think they will, but at this point, who knows? And breaking news, actually, as the New York Jets have hired Robert Saleh as their head coach, replacing Adam Gase. This is breaking news currently right now. The Jets are going to be hiring Robert Saleh as their head coach. This was just announced a few minutes ago, and this is the former San Francisco 49ers defensive coordinator. And Saleh will be replacing Adam Gase, who has gone 9-23 in his 2 seasons as the New York Jets head coach. There will be more updates on this story as it progresses through. This is just breaking currently at the moment. Now, moving on over to some NBA action where we take a look at all the games that are going on today. And we also just got some breaking news as well that the Suns and Pacers game has been postponed by the NBA due to COVID protocols. The Phoenix Suns and the Indiana Pacers were set for a Saturday night matchup, but that has now been postponed in accordance with the NBA's health and safety protocols. The league had announced this again today on Thursday. Now, this has been ongoing contact tracing within the Suns organization, not the Pacers organization, just an FYI. Now, the team does not have the league required 8 available players to play against the Pacers, which means that this game will be postponed. And Phoenix's game that had been set for Friday against the Golden State Warriors was postponed yesterday, and they did not play that same night against Atlanta as well. So Phoenix and Indiana on Saturday will not be playing. So be sure for anyone out there to update your fantasy lineups. Now, moving on, guys, we're going to be talking about, again, the games that have been going on today. First game on the docket, the Philadelphia 76ers were taking on the Miami Heat. One team doing really well so far in the East, and another team that is trailing a little behind. And the Philadelphia 76ers ended up taking this one against Miami with a final score of 125-108. Philadelphia dominated in this one as Ben Simmons had a triple-double with 10 points, 10 rebounds, and 12 assists. Shake Milton was actually the leading scorer in this one for Philly, putting up 31 points, 2 rebounds, and 7 assists in the win. Tobias Harris also put up 18 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists. And for the Miami Heat, who have been riddled with COVID as well in the past, Duncan Robinson put up a team-high 22 points with 2 rebounds and an assist. And newly recently acquired guard Gabriel Vincent put up 21 points, 2 rebounds, and 8 assists. Tyler Hero putting up 17 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists for Miami. Now moving on, we have the Toronto Raptors as they're taking on the Charlotte Hornets. This is LaMelo Ball coming in and trying to prove his dominance in Canada. Well, not necessarily Canada, more Tampa Bay, but beyond the point there. The Raptors were able to take this one in a nail-biter. Final score in this one was 111-108. The Raptors' record now moves to 3-8 to start off this season, while Charlotte moves below 500 to a 6-7 record. For Toronto in this one, a team-high 25 points for Chris Boucher and 10 rebounds and 2 assists in this matchup. Kyle Lowry putting up a double-double as well with 16 points, 12 assists, and 6 rebounds. Also in this one, Fred VanVleet put up 17 points, 1 rebound, and 8 assists in 36 minutes of action. As well, Pascal Siakam put up 15 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists in a team-high 38 minutes of action in this one. And for the Hornets, we got to take a look at our guy here, LaMelo Ball, 14 points, 6 rebounds, and 11 assists for Charlotte. Team high for Charlotte was Terry Rozier with 22 points, 3 rebounds, and 5 assists in the loss. Toronto again moves to 3-8 with the 111-108 win over the Charlotte Hornets. Now moving on here, we have the Houston Rockets as they were taking on the San Antonio Spurs. And Houston was able to take this one in another nail-biter type game, 109-105. For Houston, a team-high 27 points for Christian Wood as he puts up 27 points, 15 rebounds, and an assist. As well as Sterling Brown went for 23 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 assists in this one as well. Third leading scorer goes to Deshaun Tate with 13 points, 5 rebounds, and 10 assists. And for San Antonio, Keldon Johnson put up 29 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 assists, while second leading scorer Lonnie Walker put up 16 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists for the Spurs. And after the first quarter of play, just beginning the second quarter, the Denver Nuggets are playing the Golden State Warriors as they're up 37-24. And our final game going on here is in the second quarter, 9:23 left in the second quarter, and Indiana is currently up on Portland 34-28. In this one, Malcolm Brogdon's leading the team with 8 points and 2 assists, while for Portland, Derek Jones Jr. has 7 points and 4 rebounds to start off. Again, Indiana is up on this one 34-28. And now moving on over to the story that everybody wanted to hear. Yes, probably the biggest trade that's going to happen in this season. And when it's all said and done, potentially one of the top trades of the decade, if not of all time, as the Nets have finally done it. They have finally gone on and said what they were going to do, and they acquired James Harden in a blockbuster trade. Now, hear me out. I'm going to have to go on about this for a little bit here because it gets confusing. So, James Harden, as we know, is going to Brooklyn to join up with old teammates Kevin Durant, and he's also going to be joining Kyrie Irving to give the Nets a potent trio to potentially win an NBA championship. Now, this trade is a three-team trade that involves Brooklyn, Houston, and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, in this trade, the Brooklyn Nets are sending center Jared Allen and forward Tayron Prince to Cleveland, and guard Karis LeVert and forward Ronnie Kuruc, as well as 3 first-round picks in 2022, 2024, and 2026, and 4 first-round pick swaps, which will be in 2021, 2023, 2025, and 2027 to Houston. And the Rockets will also be receiving guard Dante Exum and a 2022 first-round draft pick from Cleveland, and this is via the Milwaukee Bucks. Brooklyn also acquires a 2024 second-round pick from the Cavaliers to complete the deal. Now, this is where it gets confusing because it's not over from here. The deal will reportedly as well include a 4th team, which is set to be the Indiana Pacers. But that aspect of the deal had not been made official yet as of reporting. But this is per multiple reports. The Pacers would be acquiring Karis LeVert and a second-round pick from the Houston Rockets, and this would be in exchange for all-star guard Victor Oladipo. So Victor Oladipo is heading over to Houston. Karis LeVert is heading over to Indiana. And the Cleveland players that go to Cleveland, Jared Allen, Dante Exum, the picks, Cleveland is essentially just getting Jared Allen, Tayron Prince, and that's about it. That's essentially all they're getting. They're giving up a pick in a little bit, but it's Houston that's getting the majority here, getting a combined 7 first-round picks at the end of the day, and this was the majority of Brooklyn's rebuild, right? This is how they kind of started, and now they're going to try to finish it by acquiring up a super team and trying to go for the NBA title. I'm interested to see as well how this trade pans out because these are 3 guys who demand the ball at all times, and you have to be able to give these players touches to be able to make them happy. I think that Harden will have to take less touches, and I think he'll almost be okay with that because he's out of Houston, and he wasn't passing the ball. He was putting up 50-point triple-doubles, but at the end of the day, when you're the only guy out there and you're running the entire offense, of course you're going to get a 50-point triple-double. You're the one choosing all the plays. You're the one who's taking all the shots. You're the one who's stepping back for 3. You're the one who's able to draw the most amount of fouls in the league. That's how he's getting 50-point triple-doubles. So I'm going to be curious to see how Harden starts off in this trade and see if Brooklyn can ride it to a championship this year. I'm going to be, if you're an NBA fan right now, you got to be excited for this trade because it is going to make and break the NBA in this season as well. Now, moving on over to the NHL as hockey has begun and it has finally gotten started. Today, though, we're going to be going through yesterday's scores in opening night, and we're also going to be going through today's scores so far. So, yesterday, the Pittsburgh Penguins played the Philadelphia Flyers. Philadelphia doubled up Pittsburgh in this one 6-3, and we could be set for a common theme against those 2 teams in this season. Philly takes it 6-3. Toronto took on Montreal in game number 1 of the season. Toronto takes this one in overtime with a final score of 5-4. Game winner in this one goes to Morgan Riley off of a 2-on-1, and Toronto starts off the season 1-0. And the Tampa Bay Lightning beat the Chicago Blackhawks with a final score of 5-1. Andrei Vasilevsky was riding a shutout going into the 3rd, but he gave up the lone goal. Tampa still wins it 5-1. And the Vancouver Canucks are taking on the Edmonton Oilers as they were able to beat this healthy and strong Edmonton offense. Final score in this one, 5-3. Brock Besser ended up scoring 2 goals for Vancouver. And for Edmonton, McDavid, Draisaitl quieted down as they only end up with a 1 point going to Draisaitl with an assist. Again, final score Vancouver 5, Edmonton 3. Now, moving on over to the final game that has just finished. It is the St. Louis Blues as they were taking on the Colorado Avalanche. The final score in this one was 4-1 for St. Louis. Jaden Schwartz and Oscar Sundqvist combined for 2 goals and 2 assists in this one, as they were the key guys in this one. Final score again, 4-1 for St. Louis over Colorado. Now moving on over to today's NHL action, the Boston Bruins beat the New Jersey Devils 3-2 in a shootout today. And Boston, Brad Marchand putting up 2 points, getting a nice start to his season. Final score again, 3-2, Boston versus New Jersey in a shootout. And the New York Islanders beat the New York Rangers 4-0 in a battle of New York for the Islanders. Semyon Varlamov was just fantastic in this one, stopping 24 out of 24 shots, giving him the first shutout of the new season. Final score in this one, again, battle in New York. Islanders take it 4-0. Washington Capitals were taking on the Buffalo Sabres. Washington takes this one against Buffalo. Final score, high scoring, 6-4. Nick Backstrom and Ovechkin each put up 2 points. Backstrom with a goal and assist, and Ovi with 2 assists in the win. Again, final score, Washington 6, Buffalo 4. And the Carolina Hurricanes are taking on the Detroit Red Wings in this one, as we have our second shutout of the new season, as Carolina beats Detroit 3-0. And Peter Mrazek stops 14 shots as he's able to take the 3-0 win, and he gets his first shutout of the new season. Now moving on over to the Winnipeg Jets taking on the Calgary Flames, and this one needed overtime. And for Winnipeg, Patrick Laine had 2 goals and 1 assist in this one for 3 points, as the Winnipeg Jets end up taking this one with a final of 4-3. And the final score, the final game that's done for today for hockey, is the Nashville Predators and the Columbus Blue Jackets. Nashville takes this one 3-1. For Nashville, Philip Forsberg scored a lone goal, as well as Kalle Yarnock and Luke Kunin were able to score for Nashville. Final score again, Nashville 3, Columbus 1. And currently at the end of the second period, it's 2-1 for San Jose in favor of the Arizona Coyotes. The Edmonton Oilers are currently beating the Vancouver Canucks 4-2 after 2 periods of play. The Anaheim Mighty Ducks and the Vegas Golden Knights are tied 2-2 after 1. And the Minnesota Wild and the Los Angeles Kings are tied 1-1. Now moving on over to some MLB free agency news, where we see that the Philadelphia Phillies have signed reliever Archie Bradley to a 1-year contract. Now the Phillies again have signed Archie Bradley to a 1-year, $6 million contract. This is reported by Sportsnet. Now the Phillies have not yet confirmed the signing. Archie Bradley, the young 28-year-old, went from the Diamondbacks to the Cincinnati Reds at the trade deadline last year. Now, Cincinnati had been cutting costs all of offseason, and the team had non-tendered Bradley in December, rather than paying him his projected $4.7 million salary through arbitration. Now, this is very similar to what happened with Kyle Schwarber, right? Bradley landed more than his arbitration projection as a free agent, making about $1.75 million more than what he was projected to get. Now, Phillies bullpen was the worst in baseball, and we were expecting them to make some key signings, and so far they have here. Archie Bradley's a good start. Let's just see what it is that Philly is going to be able to do now going forward, because remember, right, Joe Girardi's relief crew looks like this. Closer, Nectar Harris. Setup mans are Jose Alvarado, Archie Bradley now added in there. Right, the middle relievers are Connor Brogdon, Sam Conroy, Ian Hamilton, and Ranger Suarez. Long relief pitchers are David Hale and Cole Irvin. In depth is Victor Arano and Kyle Dowie. Right? Like, that's not that much of a great bullpen. It's a very young bullpen as well. So it has a lot of inexperience. You bring someone in like Archie Bradley, who's 28 years old. He's been through it. He's still a pretty good relief pitcher. He's been landed on a few unfortunate teams. I think he'll do good in Philly. He's one of the better guys out there. And he's one of the veterans now. So he's definitely got to be able to go out there and be able to really just be able to show these young guys how to be able to play and how to be able to last as long of a season as Major League Baseball is. Now, Bradley was not ranked as one of the top 60 free agents, but that was because he was non-tendered in December and he was not initially a part of this free agency class. What do we think about the Archie Bradley deal? It's a 1 year, $6 million to Philadelphia. Now, moving on over to the trade rumors of Major League Baseball and its free agency. And this one's going on about Corey Kluber, saying that there's a chance that he could get traded this year. Now, there are a lot of teams that are obviously going after Corey Kluber. He has won the Cy Young before. He is still a very good pitcher. Now, he did come off of a very serious injury. He will not be starting off the season right away, right? Kluber is still 35 years old. He is getting a little older. He wouldn't really be worth anything more than a 1 or a 2 year contract. And I think that if he does end up playing well, he'll be able to really get a contract with the team. And depending on what ends up happening going forward with him, he'll be able to steady himself into a team, be able to get himself going again, and be able to show that he is an absolutely dominant pitcher. Because at the end of the day, he's thrown 200 plus innings. He's thrown an under 3 ERA before. So I don't really see why. You still potentially have to get a lot for him too. And speaking of teams that may give up a lot for him, we have the possible ranking spots here. Number 1 is the Yankees, right? They have a lot of starting pitchers going into free agency, so why not try to acquire one like Kluber to be able to solidify that starting 5? Los Angeles Angels are number 2. The Angels have needed pitching help, I swear, since 2014. So this is definitely a move that the Angels should make. They have a lot of room in their farm system to be able to get rid of a few guys. So why not make a move? Number 3 is the Boston Red Sox. The Boston Red Sox have had injury concerns at the pitcher spot for the last couple of seasons now. Obviously, Chris Sale still isn't 100% healthy. They had a depleted pitching staff for the 2020 season. Get someone in there like Kluber who can put up good innings and still at an old age be able to put up good numbers. Number 4 is the Tampa Bay Rays. It seems like we're just talking about AL East teams at this point, but Tampa Bay, right? They got rid of Blake Snell. They traded him. They declined Morton's option. What did they do at the pitcher spot? They haven't done much yet. This would be a really good move for them to be able to make too if they want to try to make another World Series. At the number 5 spot too, we have the Toronto Blue Jays, right? And this is a big case of they want every single free agent and traded player possible. This is a chance. Go for it here. Kluber could potentially be at a low sell at this point. So we could be seeing Corey Kluber end up going for pennies to a team. We don't know. But those are kind of my top 5 teams on where Kluber should probably go to. I would love to see him in the AL East. It's why there's a lot of AL East teams on my list that I made. And I just love to see Kluber in the AL. I've wanted to see him in the AL since 2018, and we didn't really get the chance, obviously, this year due to injury to even see him play at all against AL East teams. So it'll be curious to see what happens with Kluber and how he's able to potentially go from another team to another team and coming off of his injury as well. It's going to be I'm going to be curious to see what ends up happening. And that is your crazy day in sports for today. That is the end of the sports wrap. This show can be heard on the BarnBurner radio network on its 122 platforms. And you can check out barnburner.ca for all the news. BarnBurner. Watch it, hear it, read it, download it, live it.